Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Jaime Soretta. On this podcast, we celebrate everything local in Arizona. And we made it through the holidays. It's 2025. It is the second full week of January of the new year. How are you going to spend your time in the new year? I want to introduce you to a very familiar face around Arizona's family, Scott Keppel of Scott's Training Systems. Scott, great to see you.
Great to see you too, Jaime. Thank you.
You have been in the personal training business for 2 decades.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
And you've been with Good Morning Arizona and Good Morning Evening Arizona. You have been on Arizona's family for, 2 decades?
We've been on for about 15 years or so, if not longer.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
So a lot of folks know you, but we may not know your backstory. So tell me a little bit about, first of all, where you're from and how did you get interested in fitness?
Sure. So I'm originally from Ohio, Northeast Ohio, and I played football my whole life, high school, college. And so I'm not that big, so I always wanted to get stronger. And then really what got me into like personal training more so is in college I threw out my back, had to get put in a mobilizer, carried out of the weight room because I couldn't lift my arms or my legs.
How frightening.
Yeah, so I realized then, hey, why am I doing the same thing as everyone else, even though I play the same sport?
So you really realized it was personal fitness.
Yes.
At a young age. Is that when you started studying to be a trainer, or what did you do then?
So not really, because the college I went to didn't have kinesiology or exercise science. So my degree is actually in business and communication.
Oh, well, you use that as well, don't
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it worked out well for me. And then out of college, I worked for just a rental car company. I was doing really well, but I knew I had more to give. And so then I started to study, got certified, moved from Ohio to Arizona.
Why?
Because I knew more people in Arizona are going to want to get fit than in Ohio for the most part.
Okay, fair enough.
That, and I just knew I wanted to start something fresh. So a buddy of mine, he talked about it, and I said, I tell you what, if I find a place to live and a job, I'll move. And I got hired the day I went in, found a place to live, put in my 2 weeks notice and moved.
Wow. And so you were working in a big box gym for how long?
So I was working at a big box gym for a little over 3 years and did very well there. I was their number one trainer for 2.5 of those years.
And we have to let people know that you did the competitions. You made a transformation with your own body. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I did some natural bodybuilding competitions because after playing football, I knew I wasn't going to go anywhere. I was kind of looking for that, what's the next thing? And actually, for a while, I was going down a dark path of, even though I was training people, I wasn't really living the word.
How so?
I was going out drinking quite a bit because, I was, 22 years old and, had a job that had flexibility, and I bounced in order to make money because I wasn't making enough money. And then I just realized, I'm being a farce to everyone. So I decided to clean things up and wanted to see how far I could take my fitness. And then ended up doing one show, did really well, and then did 4 more after that.
Wow. And so you told me you lost over 50 pounds.
Yeah.
But you must have really, what to do those competitions, you have to be so strict. What are some of the biggest changes you had to make?
So giving up alcohol, that was one of the biggest ones because there's so many empty calories in that people don't even realize. And I still, to this day, I like to have beer. I just don't have it like I used to.
Yeah.
But we don't realize, when we drink, all those wasted calories and how you feel the next day, and then that impacts your workouts. And it's just a compound effect. So if you can scale back on that or eliminate it, depending on what someone feels he or she needs to do, that can obviously help you now to maybe burn a little more the next day, save a little bit on calories, and then just keep going. So that was one of the things. And then, again, just having we hear about it all the time, right? Like having SMART goals and, something that's, specific and measurable and attainable and realistic and have a time frame. And so me saying, okay, I'm going to be on stage in a Speedo, that meant wow, I really need to get my act together.
Yeah, no doubt. That'll put the fire behind you for
Yes,
sure.
it did.
No doubt. So you moved to Arizona. You wanted to be a personal trainer. When was it that you went out on your own?
So we went out on our own because my wife got pregnant with our first child. And when you work at a big box gym as a trainer, it's great in the sense that, you see people come in all the time. You have a sales team, but you cap out on how much you can make. And I was there. And so we decided we're going to go into our garage. So then that way, one, I could make more money and continue to help the people that I was helping. And so we were in our garage for a few months while my wife ended up delivering, and then we were turning clients away because people heard about us.
Really?
And
Why were they attracted? First of all, you have to make a huge investment to put that equipment in your garage. And
Yeah.
obviously, you must have AC in there in a Arizona summer too.
Yep.
So you invest in that garage gym, you invest in the facility, and then how are people hearing about you then?
just word of mouth. I mean, people getting results, someone, let's say yourself, and if people are like, oh my gosh, like, what are you doing? Like, you seem so happy, you seem so healthy. And I'm training with this guy, Scott, and he does it out of his garage. But I can only train so many people at once. So then we decided to open up our first facility and hire trainers underneath us, which then allowed us to have a broader range, because in that way I'm working with people that are like-minded. So even though I might not be able to get that person in, I know that they're going to be with someone that's reputable.
Right. So Scott's Training Systems, where are you located? How big is that gym?
So we're in Chandler, and our studio is a little over 4,100 square feet.
That sounds very large.
Yeah, so it's pretty big, knowing that we started in our garage, went to an 800 square foot studio, and then, throughout different trials and different places, we now have a 4,100 square foot.
We introduce you on AZ Family a lot when you are training our pageant teenagers and women who are going into Miss Arizona comps. How did you get into that circuit?
Yeah, so since I had competed, as we mentioned, and then people saw my transformation and asked, like, wow, do you think you could help me?
Yeah.
So I started studying more, because what works for me won't necessarily work for you. So they saw transformations. And so when I had my first place, the 800 square foot one, there was a tanning salon behind me. And at the time, the Miss Arizona USA was getting tanned there, but she had a trainer, and he was saying not such positive things about her body, as well as giving her and the teen the same exact diets and workouts, even though they had different physiques. And so they asked if I could help. I ended up helping her. She transformed pretty well. And so the director at that time asked me if I would come on and be their official trainer.
Oh, wow.
And so from there, now I'm the official trainer for a number of states in the USA system, the America system, and then there's other pageants, Miss Petite USA, Miss United States of America. So I'm the national sponsor for them.
Are you training? So you're training online for some people who are not in town?
Yeah, so I have several clients who I've never even met.
Wow, in person?
In person,
Yeah.
yeah. And we just train virtually.
Wow. Did you see that one coming?
Not at the time, but I mean, actually, that was something great that, obviously when COVID happened and we weren't able to do in person, since I already had that in my repertoire, I was able to continue to keep helping people, even though for, a stint, I couldn't do it in person.
Well, let's talk about COVID since you brought it up. That's a very tough time for people and for business owners. It was crippling. What happened with your clientele during that time?
Yeah, great question. We lost about 70, 80% of our clients because the way my facility works too is we have some coaches that come in and they just rent space. So obviously if I couldn't have a space open, they're not going to pay rent. Right, so we lost them, and some didn't come back to training with us because they started doing it out of their garage, or they ended up shifting and picking different careers. So once we were able to open their doors back up, it wasn't just all of a sudden everyone wanted to come back in. And even some clients too, because all of a sudden then they got maybe, say, a Peloton or started doing stuff at home, and they're like, now that I have this, I
need to use it.
I need to use it. I'm not going to train with you. So we had to shift. And so during that time, we started doing more Zoom workouts. So I still have clients throughout the nation that I'll train virtually while I'm training people in person.
Yeah. Let's talk about the pageant young girls and the mentality, because you had mentioned that that trainer was saying not very nice things to this woman who was pursuing a transformation. It's important to stay motivated and be able to dangle that carrot, but do so in a beautiful and healthy and happy way. How do you do that, and how do you guide women during that journey?
No, so women during that journey or whatever journey, even if they're not doing a pageant, even if it's just a woman that wants to, she's getting married, she had a child, she overcame breast cancer, she just wants to feel healthy in her own skin, whatever that may be. I try to encourage them. I'm like, what does that look like to you? Like when you think of, let's say, one of the pageant women, when you think of Miss USA or Miss America, what does she embody? Like, don't say, well, she's brown hair and I have blonde hair. Okay, what do you look like in that? Knowing that maybe you're 5'8", you're 5'2", you're this, whatever it is. Like, what can we do to make you the best version of you? Because everyone's body is so unique to them. And so we try to really highlight, because all of us have pluses and all of us have things like we don't like. And the unfortunate thing is many of us focus on the things we don't like more often than the things we do like.
When it comes to fitness and when it comes to our health, why do we do that?
Yeah.
Why do we do that? We're like sabotaging ourselves before we even get to the start line, it feels like.
Yes.
So we needed to clean out that mental gunk and focus like what you said, on the good stuff that we have already, and then how we can transition and work toward those goals that we have. I love that you said, what do you look like in that role? So we're visualizing what that woman would look like in her head as Miss Arizona or whatever it may be,
right.
Or someone on their wedding day, or someone overcoming cancer, or whatever the case may be. So you're envisioning yourself, not comparison.
Right. And unfortunately, especially with social media and just everything like that, it's so easy to compare ourselves, again, wherever we're at in life. And so it's hard not to. But I really try and encourage, especially those young women, because I get some that are teenagers, and that's when they're really starting to develop, and they can unfortunately start to turn to eating disorders, start to turn to different things that are unhealthy, instead of just saying, in this case, like Jamie, okay, what is it you love about yourself? What are some things that we want to work on that we don't want to say we don't love, but that we want to work on? So then we can, as we raise everything up, we come up together.
Yeah. Well, you think of a young woman who might be thinking about what they don't like, but you also have people who can create habits for life. Like, I like to run. I'm pretty good at, running the track at school or whatever. That would be something they could take with them for life, or tennis that they could take with them for life. So it's a very, it's a cool place that you get to be to help guide people during this time in their life where they could pick up new habits for their life. And that's really the goal. You want to help them reach their physical goal and then take these skills for life to live a happy and healthy life. Correct. You say you can simplify the food and exercise process for us. I feel like I've tried everything. I'm still trying. I'm drinking this shake, and I turn around and I look, and it's like full of sugar.
Right.
Sometimes it's so easy to make mistakes when we're trying to do the right thing.
Sure. And with that, you got to remember is we're all going to make mistakes, whatever it may be. So in the case of fitness and food, which is why we're here today, right, is there's no perfect answer for everyone. Yeah. So what you need to do is remember your why. Why is it that you feel you need to gain weight, lose weight, get stronger, run, whatever it is. And remember that as you're making these choices. And you might be like, well, I got this shake because I thought I was supposed to drink more protein. And oh my gosh, now I realize it has 30 grams of sugar and that's too much. I feel so ignorant. It's like, okay, that probably wasn't the best choice. But let's acknowledge that you made it for the right reason. And now let's find a cleaner version. And so when keeping it simple, right, as far as food goes, if we stick to, fruits and vegetables, and sometimes people will worry like, oh my gosh, but fruits have so much sugar. Like, is that okay? And it's like, chances are if you're eating, a clean, a healthy diet, it's not going to hurt you that you had a banana.
Yeah.
But I tell people like, let's start, and you should track it. Now, this is assuming someone doesn't have like a previous eating disorder.
Right.
But assuming someone doesn't have that is like, let's write down how you're feeling that day, how you felt after these meals. Because for you might need to eat 5 times a day. Someone else might do intermittent fasting. Someone might eat 3 times a day. There's no, again, one way to skin the cat.
Right. And it's interesting because, of course, we all talk to each other. And, oh, my God, you look so great. What are you doing? And then you try it.
Yep.
We're very easily, at least I am, easily influenced by my friends. What are they doing? I'll try it, too. What the heck? Let's see what happens. And they don't all work. I've noticed I tried the intermittent fasting. I couldn't speak at 8 a.m. on television when I hadn't eaten. I need to eat.
Yes.
But I could stick to 3 meals a day. So that I know I can do 3 meals a day. A lot of folks are talking about protein and getting more protein in. Should we be focusing on our protein intake?
Sure. So the reason people will say that oftentimes is because protein, as one of the macronutrients, carbs and fats are the other ones that have calories attached. And then there's water, vitamins, and minerals. But protein, you burn more calories digesting protein than you do either of the other two. And it helps rebuild tissue and muscle tissue. So a lot of people always say up your protein, but you can only have so much. So I tell people, think of a car before they were electric, right? It can only hold so much gas, transmission fluid, and oil. And it needs other things too. But if you call me and you're like, Scott, I ran out of gas, and I bring you oil, it's not going to help. So if you just keep fueling yourself with protein, but you don't have carbs, which help with your main source of energy for your brain and your body, and you don't have fats, which help with vitamins, A, D, E, and K, and your hormones, it doesn't matter. You need a certain amount of all of it. And it's hard to say, again, like what everyone needs, but keeping it simple for someone would be, shop the outside corners of the grocery store, right? Try not to get a lot of boxed and processed things. Don't beat yourself up if you indulge in something. Just acknowledge, like, why? Like, if you can't have one Girl Scout cookie, you eat a whole sleeve, you probably shouldn't have those in your house.
Yeah.
But
leave them at work.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but or measure it out ahead of time. And if you end up eating more than that, don't beat yourself up, because guilt will just make it even worse. Just acknowledge, like, I had told myself I was only going to have one drink last night. I ended up having 5. That's more than what I wanted. I feel bad today. Okay. Why did you have that? Oh, I got talking with friends and so you were in the moment, but knowing if that's something that normally happens with you, what can we do in place of that? Could you have water? Could you have club soda? If it's the
Bud
sweets.
Zero.
Right. Bud
They have that. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So all those things. And I'll drink that too at times, because non-alcoholic beer, just because it's like, the oral, I wanted something in my hand.
Yeah.
Or if it's the sweets, so maybe you should have some berries at home and some Greek yogurt. And so at night, instead of reaching for that ice cream, if you don't buy it, chances are you are not going to go to the store and get it.
Yeah.
And then you have a healthier choice, so then you end up feeling better.
So what do you eat?
So I eat a lot of protein. I do eat that.
Tell me what you eat.
So
And
like
do
a
you
typical
eat the same
day,
thing every day?
No, I vary quite a bit. I love cooking. So my wife does some of the cooking, but for the most part, I do a majority of it, because it helps me stop work.
What do you mean?
So I tend to, if I'm working, like, I just want to keep going. And so then I can't be present with my family.
Yeah.
So my kids now are all a little older. My youngest is 17. My oldest is 22.
Oh, wow.
And then my daughter in the middle is 20. But when they were younger, if I'm sitting there doing work, I'm not paying attention to them. But I could be cooking and talk to them and help them with their homework. So, and they don't want to eat the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
But what we normally do is on Sunday, we'll say, how does our week look? This is another way to keep it simple. Monday's going to be so busy. Okay, so maybe that's a day we do something in the slow cooker so that we don't have to be standing over the oven. So when we come home, it's ready. Oh, Tuesday we have a little more time. Tuesday, then, knowing that, we're going to make this. So we don't necessarily prep everything on Sunday for the whole week, but we know on Sunday what we're going to eat every day.
Yeah.
So then that way it's easier too to stick to a plan, because if you said, okay, tonight I know I have to go home and I'm making, ground turkey tacos and ground beef tacos. We did last night, which is easy. So while something else might sound better, I'm like, I already spent the money on that. Already said that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do tonight. So it helps me just stay true to what I wanted.
Yeah. And what you decided before.
Yes.
I'm hearing a lot of that in the conversation here about, I decided I wanted to do this. This is why I decided I wanted to do it. And that's why I'm going to stick to what I wanted to do. If I slip, I forgive myself, start again the next day, right?
Right. It's having integrity with ourselves. And a lot of us lose that. And I know you and I had talked earlier too about, hey, even doing 5 minutes of working out a day, is that really do anything? Or people take like a lunch break and go for a walk. And what that does is that helps build integrity with ourselves. That I said I was going to move today. Today is a extremely busy day or whatever, but at least I moved.
Yeah.
It wasn't my best workout, but I moved. So I can build off of that. Now, if someone needs to lose, let's say, 100 pounds, is moving 5 minutes a day going to get them down 100 pounds? Probably not, but it's going to create routine and a structure and a habit, because now 5 minutes could turn into 10 minutes. 10 minutes might turn into 15. But if you try and go from 0 to, okay, right now we're in 2025, right? And a lot of people probably set a resolution to lose weight or get fit. And here we are already a couple weeks in, and most people probably haven't done anything.
Well, full disclosure, I won't start.
Uh-huh.
I always give myself the first week and
Yeah.
a half or so because you have to clean up everything. You got to get all that good stuff out of the house you want one more bite of.
Yes.
And then I could get all that stuff out, move all the good stuff in. So it's usually a good week and a half into the new year before I start my goals happily,
Right.
knowing that I can't do the Jan 1.
Yeah.
That's still a holiday
Which
for
is,
me.
which again, but knowing that about yourself
Yeah.
is staying true to that integrity versus saying, I'm going to start in 2025 and here we are, the 10th or whatever day that person, so you didn't stay true to your word.
Yeah.
But if you say like, okay, I'm going to give myself a couple weeks, again, no judgment, no problem, which is why I encourage a lot of people, over the holidays, we encourage people like start to get going now. And they're like, but I have holiday parties. I'm like,
Take that little walk.
just start to get in a routine.
Yeah.
So when January 1st, the 14th, or whatever day comes that you say, this is my day, you're already on that upswing instead of, I'm dreading today because I haven't been doing anything for 4 weeks or whatever.
So behind.
Yeah.
So what do you eat on your daily basis? What is your normal meal?
Yeah. So normally, like I do intermittent fasting.
Oh, you do?
So
how many hours?
So I'll stop eating about 9 p.m. and I won't eat real food until afternoon.
Okay, real food.
So I'll do like a protein shake in the morning.
Oh.
So I don't do true like not eating anything because I wake up about 5 a.m. every day between 4:30 and 5, and I work out myself at about 8. So I'll do a protein shake or two before noon, but then I'll start eating food. And a lot of times, like I'll bring food. So whatever I had for dinner one night. So like I said, I had ground turkey tacos and ground beef tacos, then I'll take that the next day. Or we'll do maybe it's something on the Blackstone like chicken quesadillas or it's spaghetti. And then I'll do that. And then I'll have, protein, carbs, and a vegetable for lunch and dinner. And then throughout the day, I'll normally snack and I'll do 2 to 3 protein shakes a day as well.
Oh, wow. So what are those pageant girls eating?
Yeah.
What do you have them eating?
So that's a great question. So a lot of them, that's the thing is it's so different.
Yeah.
Because I've had pageant women that are 6'1". I've had pageant women that are 5'2". Some that are 160 pounds, some that are 100 pounds. So there's no magical food. There's no, I have them though, just track and be mindful. So if you tell me when you eat, let's say pasta, you feel bloated and gassy, we probably don't want to eat a lot of that,
Right.
Especially if, you have a photo shoot or something coming up. But it's all about finding that balance. So on average, I would say most women, protein-wise, they're going to want to have about 4 to 5 servings a day, and that would be the size of their palm,
Okay.
or about 15 to 20 grams. If they're doing, so with regards to carbohydrates, that would be about the size of their fist. And they're going to want 2 to 3 of those depending on how active they are. Veggies are unlimited. Fruits are 1 to 2, and that's the size of your fist too. And fats would be like the size of the top of someone's thumb. And they'll
That
probably
would be avocado or something?
yeah,
you said?
avocado or nuts. If you did nuts, you're looking at about 10 to 15 nuts, or if you did a nut butter, and that they're looking at probably about 3 to 4. So calorically, I feel most women, no one should be under 1,200 unless they're doctor supervised.
Wow.
Most women, on average, I'd say need to be between 1,400 and 1,800 calories.
Thank you for giving me user-friendly information. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And then when you're talking about exercise, what is a good goal? A happy and healthy goal.
Yes. So strength training is important. Again, whether it be for men or women, because that's going to help, build lean muscle. The more muscle we have, the more calories we burn. The higher our metabolism. It's going to help with bone density. It's going to help with posture. So resistance training, whether that be with bands or dumbbells or Pilates or whatever someone's into, I feel most people need at least 2, but ideally 3 or 4 days a week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Movement every day.
Yeah.
At least, 20 minutes of walking. Now, again, this is taking someone that's relatively fit. If someone is just getting off the couch, start with that 5 minutes a day and build up to that. But if we're looking at like perfect world, I would say we're doing resistance training 3 to 4 days. We're doing cardiovascular training basically 5 days. Anything at least 20 minutes. Anything below 20 minutes, unless you're going like really intense, it's normally not really getting into that cardiovascular benefits.
Well, I was curious because I recently invested in a Peloton, and they have 10-minute workouts. They have a 10-minute bike ride. Now, they kick your booty during that 10 minutes, but it's I liked the idea that it's not, oh, I have to go to the gym for an hour.
Yeah.
I just hop on my bike and it's 10 minutes and then, I'll just add a little something on. Oh,
Yes.
well, there's a stretch I could do. Well, maybe I'll do abs. And then 45 minutes later, I have added on just because it lured me in.
Yes.
With just 10 minutes, Jamie, do this
Yeah.
one. And then you're on the bike. Let's just do a little more.
For sure. And that's like we said with the 5 minutes is just starting with that. And that might truly be all the person has or is capable of. And that's okay. But we have to start moving in order to move. And people oftentimes say, I'm waiting.
Say that again.
We have to start moving in order to move.
And that's so important because you're laying there on the couch. You don't want to get up. But once you get up, you'll start feeling good.
Yeah.
And imagine, I love, especially in Arizona when our weather's so lovely, just a little walk around the neighborhood. You try to go a little fast, but it's so beautiful.
Yes.
And then you feel good.
And keeping it simple for that might be, let's say you have 10 minutes and that's all you really have. Okay, so if today it took you 10 minutes to walk from, the end of your block to the other end and back, great. The next day, if you still know you only have 10 minutes, maybe you can walk there, back, and just a little further. So you don't have to go and buy all the gadgets, which are great.
Yeah.
You don't have to invest all that money because that's the other thing. Sometimes people will be like, well, I'm waiting because I don't have money to buy a watch or a ring or a this or a that.
I know.
And
they're fun. All those toys are fun.
But they're not necessary for most individuals. Same with like being on a strict diet. Most individuals don't need to be on like the guidelines of, again, someone getting ready for a pageant or a bodybuilding competition. If most people just were mindful of what they put into their body and paid attention to how much they ate and how they feel when eating said foods, they probably would be happy and healthy, like you said. But unfortunately, many of us don't do that, and we eat because we're not prepared. We end up skipping meals because we weren't prepared. We end up eating junk food because we weren't prepared. We, let emotions take over instead of staying true. So if you write down, again, kind of that game plan, because people often say too, like, I need to be motivated. And I think motivation is overrated because we're all motivated when things are going our way.
Yeah.
Right? And it's easy to be motivated to go outside and exercise when the weather's nice.
Yeah.
But when it's not, where do you find that?
So we're going to plan.
Yes.
Our planning is going to take over the motivation. The plan's in play. All we got to do is execute the plan that we made for ourselves and our journey.
Right, and that will keep it simple for you.
I love it. That's great. You have been on Arizona's Family for so long. So many people want to get in on TV and become a name and have a long-standing relationship with a television station. How did you do it?
So I got on quite over 15 years ago with a mutual friend of ours, Brandy. She was looking for someone.
Hi, Brandy.
Hi, Brandy. She was looking for a fitness expert, and I happened to come on, and I guess I did well enough.
Yeah.
And then we had some weight loss challenges, and I was the winning trainer for those, and that kind of helped things going on. But what for someone that's looking to get in and stay on is you have to be able to adapt.
Yeah.
So from what we used to do with like the weight loss challenges, those were a big thing then. They're not so big now. So you have to create value as to why 3TV, whatever segment I may be on, would want me versus someone else. And that's what I always tell my coaches, like, we're a dime a dozen, but what makes me a different dime than the other ones, right? And that's, one, continuing to learn. And so, again, training women, whether it's postnatal breast cancer, things like that, like the different things that I learned, because if all I said is I'm just here for weight loss, everyone does that.
Yeah.
Right. But you have to continually learn and adapt and, be willing to put yourself out there and know, like, it might not be perfect, but a lot of times people are like, I don't know. What if I mess up? What if I don't say the right thing? Yeah. Like, again, like you just go out there, you do the best that you can, and then you study it and you learn from it. And then hopefully the next time you do even better.
So do you pitch the newsroom? Do you email the newsroom, or how do you pitch?
I do now, yes. So before they would say, hey, we have, whatever segment, and they'll still do that with me. And if I feel like I can speak on it, I will. Right. If it's something that's out, because I don't know everything.
You don't?
Yeah, I know. Don't tell that to my wife.
I will.
Yeah. But so if it's a topic that I'm like, you know what, that's a little outside of my scope. Yeah. If I know someone else, I'll gladly refer them over. Or I'll say, yeah, me study it and let me figure that out. But a lot of times I'll pitch them because I'm obviously in the field coaching clients. And I'm like, you know what, this is what my clients
are talking about.
Yeah. They're talking about, you know, like, how do I get back on track because I fell off? So I'll say to, you know, 3TV, like, hey, what if I came on and did a segment and we talked about 5 tips to get you back on track? Are you interested? And then they'll say yes or no, and then we go from there.
For folks who are thinking, this could be my guy for 2025, tell me what kind of services you offer at Scott's Training Systems.
Sure. So we offer quite a bit. So if we're not close to them, we do virtual workouts either through Zoom or we'll write up programs for them to do. We have an app that they can use too. So if they're like, but I don't know how to do the exercises. So it'd be similar to, in a sense, like a Peloton, but this is going to be personalized to the person versus just the masses.
Right.
So we have those options in-house. And again, we have that 4,100 square foot location. I have 7 coaches that work with me, and all of us have been together pretty much since 2018, if not before.
Wow.
So I have some coaches that have been with me for 20 years.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah, thank you. So they all are great, but we do, our biggest thing is semi-private coaching, and that's where we have 2 to 6 in a group, but the workout is specific to the individual versus, again, everyone doing the same exact workout. So you might be in there with, let's say, Brandy, or someone doing a pageant, or someone that is looking to do a bodybuilding show, or someone that's looking to do a triathlon, but you all have a workout specific to your needs.
Okay. So when you are not training people, when you are not preparing your chicken tacos for the family, what do you do? How are you enjoying our Arizona? What do you like to do?
So yeah, great question. I actually, like I said, I like going to breweries.
Oh,
so my
you
wife,
do?
my wife and I will do that.
Yeah. Do you have any favorites?
I have a few. Yeah. So
do you want to shout them out?
Yeah. So I like Roses by the Stairs is really good, and that's here in Phoenix. We'll go there. We like Catalyst. And we'll go to Goldwater. So there's a few of them. But that's kind of something we'll go on like a Friday for a little bit, and then that way we're home early. I do like to get outside, and I don't go on hikes as much now as I used to, just because fortunately my schedule is pretty full with work. But we have 2 dogs. I'll take our dogs on our walk. We'll go to just different events that we find coming up, you know, whether it be a football game. I love football.
Yeah. ASU?
I'm a Buckeyes fan.
One of them. Okay, yes, I get it.
But out of the Arizona ones, yes, ASU would be who I root for.
Yeah.
So I'm really into sports, so we'll go to that or a baseball game, you know, Cardinals game. But those are pretty much what we'll do.
Yeah, the local sports. And so I missed asking you, what is your workout routine? Obviously, you're probably getting 5 days of weightlifting in. What do you do for your cardio?
So I lift 6. Oh. So I lift
Silly
6.
Me.
Yeah, no, I lift 6, but and I do cardio. What I do is I'll do at least 20 minutes a day on whether it be stairs, elliptical, treadmill, and then I'll do 20 minutes where I ride on like just the recumbent bike, and I'm writing up workouts. So I do about 40 to 50 minutes of cardio every day, and then I lift 6 days a week. And people will sometimes say, well, it's easy for you because, you know, you have the gym. And to like those people, I'll say, yes, it's easy because I'm there. But, you know, I have clients all day. Like that's where I work. So when people use that as an excuse, I just use it because how am I going to sit here across from you and say you should exercise if I don't do the same?
I mean, there's a gym downstairs at 3TV right here.
Yes.
How many times have I used it? Maybe 50.
Right.
But, you know, not a ton.
Yeah.
So that's not a good excuse for those people to point their finger at you.
Yeah, you just got to, block it out and plan like we talked about.
Yes, and plan. Scott Keppel, thank you so much for your time
Jamie.
today. I appreciate you being here. Before I let you go, give me one great encourager, one great tip to get back on track in 2025. Make it our year for happy and healthy.
Yeah, so with that, I would just say, again, start. Just start. Don't worry about how many days yet. Just come up with a plan for this week. How many days this week do you think you can get in? How much time can you devote this week? And then next week, go from there. But instead of saying I'm going to start going 5 days a week or 6 days a week, right now, just start moving.
Yeah, planning.
Yes.
Scott, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Jamie's Local Love, the podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Soretta. Our technician is Tom Heidinger. Our editors are Lorraine Shearing and Gina Coy. Do you know a business worthy of some local love? Email me at jsoretta@azfamily.com. Follow us at facebook.com/Soretta and Instagram @Soretta News. Make sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star review, please. And tell your friends about the podcast and the businesses we feature to show your local love. You can find us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
Jaime's Local Love, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.